came about through myself and Jonathan Scott, both being artists and both knowing each other for 6 years now. Came about through one night just sort of sitting around talking about ideas of how we could collaborate, because we're both artists. But we thought at the time it wouldn't be good if we could produce an exhibition that's about each Prime Minister within the Federation.
It's come about through a friendship with Daniel and through talking about Indigenous issues that I was totally oblivious to before embarking on this project, really. What interested me at the beginning was the whole idea of an actual collaboration between Indigenous, Black and white migrant on the subject of white migration and Black Indigenous issues.
What we tried to focus on this exhibition was to get to basically inform the audience of the information and the policies that has been basically swept under the carpet. The idea of the exhibition is basically 25 canvases, each one representing each Prime Minister within our Federation.
We basically had to start somewhere, so we thought, well, okay, we'll go from Federation to now and just have a look at what's been going on. So it happens there's been 25 Prime Ministers in this country since Federation. So we took that as our starting point. Some of them were only in for a few days and there wasn't an awful lot going on. And some of them were in for a great deal of time and there was an awful lot going on.
So it's looking at things like the White Australia policy, which was brought out when Federation came about. It's looking at other things to do with the stolen generation from the Indigenous perspective. It's looking at other things other than Indigenous stuff, looking at Canberra and the different names of that and how that sort of came about.
From a historical point of view, we've drawn on some of the advertisements of the times, which were quite shocking in their racist attitudes.
Each one looks like a political poster, which is, I suppose, what we've subconsciously kind of done, is that we're kind of brainwashing people into the right way rather than brainwashing people into the wrong way.
Due to the overwhelming amount of information, we had to select a style, boil it down to a simple way of conveying the extreme nature of some of this history. What we've ended up with is 25 canvases representing 25 periods of time in time, and boiling those periods of time down into digestible sound bites, if you like, of those times.
The first painting was Edmund Barton. He was the first Prime Minister within our Federation of Australia. That's actually a painting of the actual medallions that were actually given to each person in Parliament. When the White Australia policy was passed, they actually gave them each a medallion that they could wear on their jacket, and that's what was on the medallion.
It was pressed and distributed.
Yeah, throughout all the people in the Parliament.
And worn proudly, I'm sure.
The picture about Gough Whitlam was an interesting one to tackle, because he was about to institute quite major changes in this country, and we feel the rug was pulled out from under him. I mean, it's interesting when you look at this exhibition as a whole. You can see the shifting allegiances from the British Empire to the American Empire, somewhere around the 60s, 50s. With Gough Whitlam, we felt he was a public figure who was actually trying to make a difference, and he was stamped on. So.
Look, this exhibition is not a representation of everything that happened, but it's just sort of giving an insight into some of the things that this country is built on.
Each piece has its own flavour, but it all needs to be seen as a whole for it to be fully effective. It is really one piece. From my point of view, this has been incredibly worthwhile in that I have learnt an awful lot of of stuff that I didn't know about before, and I've been quite enlightened, and hopefully through presenting this, other people will be too.
I mean, I feel that yeah, there's definitely issues here that need to be addressed and need to be brought into light. And I think, you know, definitely through the process of producing the work, we've been able to do that, and it's an important thing I think that needs to be shared not only amongst Australia but throughout the rest of the world about what's sort of happened here in this country. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks.